Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Very excited to show you guys the upgrade parts I have for my Kyosho Outlaw Rampage Pro. They're from E-Viratrue, and there were some really nice 7075 aluminum hard anodized parts. I have upper and lower control arms, front knuckles, and rear trailing arms. This is great because this truck has been around for a long time. I really like this truck. It seems to be a very popular truck. I have had quite a few views on the videos I posted on this, a lot of comments about it. Seems to be even growing in popularity. And there really are no upgrade parts available for this at the time. There is a company that sells some internal gears for the transmission, some metal gears, and that is about it. You really don't see anything else for this truck. Yes, you can find some wheels that will fit, but other than that, there is nothing available for this. So it's really cool to see that E-Viratrue came out with some upgrade parts for this. And I know I'm going to get it in the comments already that, oh, just adding aluminum to an RC isn't always the best thing. It adds weight. It makes other parts break because it doesn't flex. And while that's true to some extent, I don't think it's as big a deal on a scale truck like this because this is not a basher. You're not going to be going out and sending this thing off of a ramp 20 feet in the air. So if you're driving this as like a scale driving experience, I don't think adding aluminum is going to be a bad thing. I know there have been some guys posting up that they broke the front knuckles multiple times. So I think changing out these front knuckles to aluminum is a very good idea. And it's going to be up to you. Maybe that's where you stop. Maybe you just do the knuckles and you leave the arms plastic so they flex. It's really going to be up to the driver, the terrain you're driving on, the type of driving you're doing, how hard you're going to push the truck, and whatever works best for you. I've had a really good experience adding aluminum parts to some of my other rigs, and it's held up great. My hammer ray is way better with everything aluminum than it was out of the box with everything plastic. So, and as far as the weight goes, we're going to get a weight of these compared to the stock parts, and we'll see what the difference is. I don't think it's going to be a huge difference. I don't think that's going to really negatively impact this truck. Sometimes adding a little bit of weight down low is actually better for handling. So we're going to see. We'll get it out for a test after I install everything, and we'll give it a rip and see how it does. We'll see how it performs, and I'll do a long-term review on these and, you know, see how it holds up, see if it negatively impacts the strength of any other parts. I don't think it will. Okay, so let's take a look at these. These are lower control arms, very nice quality. They are pretty light, so I'm curious to see how these compare to the stock ones. Now, these are hard anodized, and some guys might think that the hard anodized is really just referring to the color, and it's the same as any other anodized part, but it's not. This is a much thicker, more durable finish than would be with a standard anodizing process, right? It's a thicker layer, it's slipperier, it's more durable, and while it is still going to be prone to getting scratched if you're running over rocks and stuff on rough terrain, nothing is really going to withstand that kind of abuse. The important part is this is hard anodized everywhere. So on your pivots here with your pins and your pivot balls here, that hard anodizing is inside of this link as well. So you're going to get a more durable finish. It's going to hold up better over long term, and then also just develop a lot less slop in these as parts wear. So I really like the color too. I think it does have a cool factory look to it. So, and it's going to look cool with the gray. Okay, let's start out with the trailing arms here. See the stock versus the E-Viratrue. You do have some additional holes here, so you have an additional hole on both outer positions. So if you're running something like, or if you want to just adjust your suspension to play around with it, you get a much more adjustability here. But then also if you're running dual shocks, it can kind of give you a little bit better spacing as well. Let's check the weight on these. So we're looking at stock, 10 grams, E-Viratrue, 30. So 20 grams a piece, not that big a deal. It does come with some stainless hardware, 2 screws for each one if you're running dual shock mounts. Now, if you're running these and you want to keep your shocks in the same position, just mount it one hole from the rear is the stock position. So I'm going to leave it stock for now. I didn't really have any complaints with how the suspension worked on this truck, so maybe at some point I'll go and add a secondary damper, so that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it looks really nice, and this is going to be way stronger. You know, these are Not as flexible as you would think with how hollowed out they are, but they do flex around quite a bit. These, not at all. Let's get the second one installed. Pretty simple process. 3 screws, front and rear, shock mount, good to go. Okay, for the front here, just pull out the 2 screws from your lower front skid here, and then there's a screw on either side of your front bumper mount, and just pivot that up out of the way. Take your wheels off, remove the screws for your shocks and your sway bar, and then we're just gonna have a screw for the upper arm here, and then this pin down here we'll pull out to pop these lower arms out, and then we'll pull this all apart and compare the difference to the E-Viratrue. So the top arm here uses this long pin screw, and then the bottom, you just pull this giant double pin out, and that's that. Let's check out the control arms here. You can see this uses a pin screw, and this uses a pin that is held in place with a little countersunk screw on either side, stainless hardware. Let's get a weight on these. Stock, we're looking at 25. Aluminum, we're looking at 40. So we'll tally this up at the end and see how much weight we gain overall. But again, not a huge amount, but we'll see. You can see the difference here. Yeah, very nice. I like how this is machined out in the center so that it's not going to trap dirt. You're going to still get some in there, but the stock one, this whole thing is going to just accumulate a bunch of crud and dirt in there. Let's look at the upper arms here. Same deal. This uses a pin held in place with some countersunk screws. This uses a pin style screw. Oh, I got screws falling out all over the place. I'm gonna put these in so we get an accurate weight. Nope, we're not gonna use stock. We got 10 grams, aluminum, 15. Okay, let's look at the knuckles here. Here's where you're gonna see some significant differences and improvements. For one thing, just note that the stock one uses this little spacer for your tie rod, and it's built in on the E-Viratrue, so you no longer need that spacer. But let's take a look at the real good news here. You can see the difference in the bearing sizes here. I mean, way larger bearings, both inner and outer on the E-Viratrue unit. These are also just metal shielded, and these are rubber sealed, so that's a big improvement there. He does add a screw here for a steering limit stop. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to see how that plays out. It seems to be about the same steering distance. I'm not sure if that's really required. I'm also gonna check and see if I can just use a shorter screw in here rather than have it bolt all the way through. Let's get a weight on these and see. Oh, don't forget the spacer. 20 grams. And the aluminum, 35. Okay, so with a shorter steering stop screw in here, I just removed that long one with the nut and just threaded that one in, put a tiny bit of Loctite on it. It's actually 30 grams, so let's go with that weight. So before I forget, I did the math. We're looking at a total of 94 grams, everything. Rear trailing arms, front uppers, lowers, knuckles, the whole deal, 94 grams of added weight. So don't forget, when you take these screws out, I would add a tiny bit of medium strength thread locker because they are going into aluminum. Just any of the screws that go into the aluminum to hold the pins in here. Same deal down here. I'd pull these out and just put a tiny dab of some type of Loctite. All right, let's get a little before and after here. So stock, man, it looks good. It looks really good. Nice and smooth. Geometry matches up perfectly. Yeah, this is gonna be nice. Okay, finished product here. Very nice, everything fits very precisely. No issues with the install, and yeah, it looks amazing. Super nice. Okay, so that's it for the install, guys. Let's get out and rip this thing. Really excited to try this out. Only 94 grams of added weight, not a huge deal. Just for example, if you add some secondary rear shocks, that's going to add about 60, 70 grams in itself. So it's not much more than that. And all the weight is kind of down low. So I think this thing is going to run really nice with that. If you're wondering what I did here, this diamond plate, this is actually made by RC 4-wheel drive. You can pick it up on, I believe I got it from A-Main. And it comes in a big sheet. You can just trim it to fit. So I did a little section on the front and back there just to make it look a little more scale. I really like the look of that. Added, had a little light here. But go back and check out my previous videos if you want to know what else I did with this truck in terms of the motor, the ESC, all that good stuff. The little Mias Racing lights up front are super cool. And yeah, I can't wait to get out and rip this thing. One other tip, guys, glue your tires on. I know these are beadlock wheels, but the tires come off of the beadlocks pretty easily if you're running this with any kind of power. If you're running it brushed, like kind of just a slower system, it's probably okay. I may eventually switch out to some metal beadlock wheels, but I don't know. I like the look of these for now, so we're going to run it and try the glue and see how that works. But so something else that I wanted to mention while you guys are enjoying some of the running video here, if you go to the eBay store for E-Viratrue, you'll notice that it says seller is on vacation. That's on purpose because of the issue with the tariffs that is going on. eBay is automatically adding like a crazy charge for shipping because of the tariffs. So, and there's no way to get around it on eBay, so it's temporarily shut down from what I was told. If you go to the website, there is kind of a workaround right now. So I would send them a message if you have a question and you want to get like a shipping quote just to be accurate. But the last thing they sent me got here in 7 days, no issues with customs or anything. So I think there's a workaround. So if you guys want to pick these up, go to the website. I will link it down below, and hopefully all of this tariff stuff gets sorted soon because, yeah, we need RC stuff. And unfortunately, we don't really make a lot of stuff here in this country at the moment. But that's a topic for another discussion. This truck was awesome. I had a ton of fun with this thing. I do still want to do some fine tuning to this thing, suspension. The tires are not the grippiest. I think for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and glue the front tires as well because you'll see later I do have an issue with that. The rear's held up fine just being glued. I didn't want to glue them all initially because I thought I would reuse these tires if I get some metal beadlocks, but they don't have the best traction. I think something that's a little bit of a softer compound from like a better manufacturer for tires, like a Proline tire, would just probably work better and get a little more grip and help out, especially with the two-wheel drive. You do tend to slide around a lot. Now, these conditions, very dry, hard-packed, dusty, not going to be great with any tire, but I think some of the other tires I've run are just a little more grippy. So we'll see. I'm not sure yet, but I think for now I'm just going to glue the front tires on and shouldn't be an issue. I'll just run it like that. But I think some suspension tuning could go a long way with this truck. And not too much else, honestly. It really does perform well. Maybe I'll play around with the rear sway bar stiffness. It does come with a few options, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, man, this thing just keeps getting better and better. Stay tuned. In the very near future, I might have even more E-Viratrue parts to show you. I got a little sneak peek of something really exciting. I think it's going to be super cool. Looked pretty close to production, so keep an eye out for that. Keep checking their website, but as soon as I get one to test out, I'll have it on here and make a video for you guys. Other than that, I'm just going to let this kind of play out here and stop talking, let you enjoy the driving. But yeah, I love this truck, so that's all I'm going to say. Stay tuned for some more videos. I got my aluminum I-beams pre-runner video coming up pretty much in the next day or so. I just got out and tested that thing today. So, and pre-runner shootout coming up soon. This truck versus the aluminum I-beams versus the Proline I-beams. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's take a quick look at the arms here after purposefully running it through rocks and some chunky terrain and really not much damage. You can see the skid plates get pretty beat up, but overall, arms held up nice. One issue I did have, front tires came off the beads, so my recommendation, glue all four or get metal bead locks. Later, guys.